Alderman Shane Cohn has served the city of St. Louis in an official capacity since 2009, but he's always had a passion for living in the city and making it an ideal place to live, work, and play. Join me as we explore the neighborhoods, history, architecture, and people of the Third Ward.
I've lived in the St. Louis area for most of my life, but I've lived in Ward 3 for over 20 years now.
Tell us about the geography of your ward and some of the demographics.
Absolutely. Ward 3 is comprised of portions of the Dutchtown, Mount Pleasant, Gravois Park, and Carondelet neighborhoods. There's over 20,000 people that call Ward 3 home. I think a lot of people fall in love with the architecture. You know, it's a bit of a hidden gem in the city of St. Louis. You know, a lot of folks live there, but you know, a lot of people don't come and visit that part of the city as much as we would like for them to. We have some really historic businesses in Dutchtown in particular. I call it the South City Sweet Tooth. It's, you know, Dad's Cookies, Merb's Candies, Ted Drew's. So the architecture is absolutely wonderful. You know, we are starting a lot of initiatives in our community to, you know, help deal with, you know, vacancy and to, you know, help reinvestment within our community. And people are starting to notice that and, you know, starting to invest and visit and create businesses along what used to be a pretty decent-sized bedroom community, I think is what most people would have called it back in the day. It's one of the most diverse wards in the entire region, one of the largest immigrant communities in the entire region, and is also home to a lot of families. Over 30% of the population is actually underneath the age of 18. When I first got elected, we didn't have any youth service providers in the ward. You can walk or, you know, go down any, you know, alley or street in the neighborhood, and there's young people playing in the street. So I was very excited when Gene Slade decided that they were going to open up a satellite campus in the Dutchtown neighborhood. I worked very closely with them and their leadership team at the time on getting grants from the city for, you know, their facilities and their programming and all of that. And they've been at the corner of Compton and Pulaski now for several years, offering services to hundreds of families in the community. A lot of nonprofits have started moving their headquarters into the neighborhood and into the ward as well. Stray Rescue is moving their headquarters into the Third Ward. A few years back, Habitat for Humanity moved their headquarters to Grand and Chippewa. Right there at that very intersection, we just broke ground on a new healthcare facility that will be going in. Family Healthcare Centers is opening up their newest facility right there at Grand and Chippewa as well.
What do you think a neighborhood needs to help, or a ward, to help build it and strengthen it?
Well, I think people, first and foremost, which we don't have any shortage of people down in the Third Ward. We're one of the most densely populated wards in the entire city. But I think meeting the needs of the people is what helps make a community and what makes it a home. And so when you think about that, schools, transportation, healthcare, jobs, entertainment, you know, I kind of call it the 3 E's: education, entertainment, employment. And so, you know, really trying to bring those tools, those resources, and amenities to the neighborhood are really important. You know, we also formed the Dutchtown Community Improvement District. It's geographically one of the largest community improvement districts in the whole state of Missouri, that runs along Grand, Merrimack, and Virginia. And then we have, you know, a lot of newer businesses that have been opening up. You know, one of my favorites right now is Intertwine Wine Bar. It's located on the 4700 block of Virginia, which is seeing a bit of a renaissance itself right now.
We are a wine bar housed here in the heart of Dutchtown. We've been here close to a year, and we just pride ourselves on bringing opportunities for partnership and business in the new Virginia corridor. First off, from the outside, you might not know what you're going to get when you come in. So I like to call this like the Cracker Jack surprise. When you come into the door, everybody is awed at the ambiance, at the beauty, the vibe. I think of Cheers when I think of Intertwine. It's like the modern day Cheers. Everybody walks in a stranger, but you leave out family and everybody knows your name.
That's a great question. Why did we choose to put the business in this neighborhood? The business actually chose us for this neighborhood because, see, this greenhouse glass structure, it was here in the neighborhood. It was condemned, it was vandalized. I mean, when we first saw it, there was literally all this glass crunching under our feet. Before we bought this property, we knew that we were going to have city support. So before we even bought the property, we went and found out who our alderman was first, and then we scheduled an appointment with him. Not only did he listen, respond to our questions, was very much attentive to our needs, he became part of our team, you know? I mean, really fighting for us and what we were trying to do in the neighborhood.
So good things happening right now are in the efforts of development. We have a lot of vacancy reduction happening now. The Dutchtown Main Streets Board is working effortlessly with other partners, creating opportunities for new businesses and new homeowners to come to Dutchtown.
Urban Eats is a food places. It's a food incubator, shared kitchen, and now is the neighborhood food hall.
That's really pretty much our personal mission, to help very small businesses get started and be successful and grow and be able to put those businesses in our neighborhood storefronts. The Neighborhood Innovation Center is focused on how do we help these micro businesses really survive and thrive, and how can we repopulate our vacant storefronts, not only in this neighborhood, but in other neighborhoods.
Our Main Street program, which is ongoing now, that is with our focus on the entrepreneurship, building a community-based innovation community. We call it the Dutchtown Innovation Hub.
What are some of the initiatives that you're most proud of as serving as alderperson since 2009?
Yeah, it's a very long list. So I would say probably some of the more impactful things in the neighborhood. We worked very closely. I worked very closely with Mike England, who's the president of St. Mary's High School, and Bridget Flood, who's the CEO of the Incarnate Word Foundation, to create the St. Joseph's Housing Initiative. They have been doing a lot of wonderful work in the neighborhoods that I represent, taking vacant buildings, vacant single-family homes predominantly, and rehabbing them with volunteers and donations, and providing them to people who are currently either renting in the neighborhood or going through a homeowner training program. And they provide wraparound services for those homeowners as they enter into their kind of new journey as being new homeowners. One of the very first bills I passed was a complete streets policy for the city of St. Louis, which has only gotten better over the years through the efforts of many of my colleagues. And traffic safety has always been something near and dear to me. I really think that if we can design our streets and sidewalks in a manner that is more inviting and going to promote the health and welfare of our community, whether that's encouraging people to walk or encouraging people to bike, or being able to take a baby in a stroller on a sidewalk that doesn't have cattywampus because it's been uprooted by a tree or a sewer line. Public safety, in my mind, is more than just talking about crime. It's around how can we promote an active safety environment, whether that's through community engagement or public health or traffic safety.
What's been the most rewarding part of this tenure as an alderperson?
I have just being able to help my neighbors.
Yeah.
Since the pandemic, we've had a lot of struggles with neighborhood organizations kind of reconvening. And so a lot of the effort that I've been working on this year has been, connecting neighbors with one another and trying to get those started again. I do things like, a business lunch and learn. And so, we invite the several hundred businesses in the neighborhood to have lunch with me, and I get to, talk with them about things that are happening in city government, but also learn from them what their challenges are, what they'd like to see more of.
If there's an issue in the neighborhood, on our block, around our block, he's a phone call away, he's a text away. And sometimes he just walks in and then we're like, hey, how are you? But guess what? So he's a regular here.
My family, taught me to, be involved in the community in which we, live and be neighborly. And so for me, it's always been about being a neighbor, being a friend, and having those roots in our community. And from that, you learn, the needs of the people. And, I personally try to bring that, every day down to City Hall to advocate and, hopefully make that vision a reality.
And what do you love about the city of St. Louis?
Oh my gosh. The food, the architecture, the people. It's just an incredibly friendly city for the most part. It gets a bad rap from time to time, but the people here are absolutely some of the best. And I think when you talk to folks that are visiting from outside of St. Louis, their experience is so much different. I would have to say, at the core, St. Louis is just a wonderful place to be able to have fun, to enjoy yourself, raise a family, and be surrounded by history and culture and community that is very rich and wonderful. For me, you can probably find me at any number of the neighborhood restaurants or establishments. Lately, that's been Intertwined Wine Bar or Your Place Diner, but Chimichangas, Cecil Whitaker's Pizza, Marquette Park. We've done a lot of activities in Marquette Park. Marquette Park is a park in the neighborhood that we've been trying to bring a lot of resources into. We have the Allies of Marquette Park. It's another neighborhood group that has been formed that's supported by the Dutchtown Main Streets group. This past summer, we actually broke ground on a new basketball court and pickleball court in the park. It has one of the city's free public pools. So during the summer, Dutchtown Main Street sponsors movie nights in the park and pool opening parties and things of that nature. It's also home to Thomas Dunn Learning Center, which does a lot of youth programming and community programming as well. So I am there pretty often myself, either participating in a number of events that take place there or just enjoying a walk around the park.
You know, one of the things I love most is feeling like I can reach out and talk to my elected officials, and Alderman Shane Cohn embodies the warmth and approachability you would expect from a friend and neighbor. Thanks for joining me on this episode of In Your Ward.